program together. And then we've had this before here at the German house, but I think this is a German joke, so don't take it too seriously. But the electronics are straight from China, so that's why it's just a German joke. So anyway, but we can't figure out how to work it. They improved it, and we're a little bit behind. We live in a computerized world, and things become more complicated instead of simpler. And we've got these smart computers. Why don't they help us a little bit in certain things like this technical stuff? Anyway, the Volga German, one of the board members from the Volga Germans, he went home. He's getting his projector because I have the program, and there's pictures on it from the Wurstfest in Texas that I visited a week ago, and some video clips. So we're a little bit delaying here until he comes back with the projector. So the thing that we usually do is we do have the Pledge of Allegiance we start, and then we have the German national hymn, the third verse, legal verse. And Renate is a very good singer, and I can kind of hum along, and we can we'll sing that in German. I have the words, Renate, with me. Bitte schön. And so we'll start that way. Now, I'm looking for somebody who can do the Pledge of Allegiance without messing it up, and I'm not that good at it, so I'm looking for a volunteer to lead the Pledge of Allegiance. The board member that we had is sick. Right, Sharon?
Yes.
Yeah. So, anybody want to take that? Thank you. If you come up here, you can. Yeah, I'm not wearing a mask. We're away from each other, and I'm going to stick it in my pocket. But I'll hand it to you like this. Is it 6 feet?
6 feet.
6 feet. Dankeschön. And if you can introduce yourself. And
sure. I'm Carol Hayden. I'm the president of the Oregon chapter of the American Historical Society of Germans from Russia. So we have, looks like we're about 50-50 here today.
Very good. Thanks for coming. German guests.
We want to thank you very much for inviting us to join with you today.
Bitte schön. You're welcome.
Yeah.
We have that same history, just a little bit, maybe 300, 500 miles apart in Russia.
Yeah. Okay.
And a few years. Yeah.
I think it's generally customary to stand for the flag.
Yeah.
Take off your hat.
Yeah.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
In German, I say sehr vielen Dank, very much thanks. Doesn't quite rhyme in order from German to English, but that's a, that's a perfect explanation. German is actually backwards the wording from English. And so when I write things, and when you see a few of my sentences here, if we get the screen and get the program up, the order, my wife is an American wife, high school English teacher, and we met when I was a high school mathematics teacher. Anyway, when I wrote things, she always, hey, why don't you put those words back there, they belong there, and so forth. So that's absolutely true. Okay, then the next thing, while we're waiting for the screen, and is Renate, and if anybody wants to join us to sing the German hymn, the third verse, I have the words and with me. I couldn't, I was thinking about putting it on the computer, but you can see how well the computer is working. But, and Vivian is, and Vivian lost her husband, a long-time husband, and she's been a dear member and helping our Germans from Russia, Oregon, in Washington Club. And so here she is, and going to help us with the German hymn, Einigkeit und Recht und Freiheit. And I'm going to let Renata sing. She's much better at it than I am. Oh, yeah, feel better. Okay, together. And you can hum along or sing the words and. Einigkeit und Recht und Freiheit für das deutsche Vaterland. Danach lasst uns alle streben, brüderlich mit Herz und Hand. Einigkeit und Recht und Freiheit sind mit Kraft und Erfolg. Dieses Römisch, grüne deutsches Vaterland. Danke, danke. Wunderbar gemacht. Ausgezeichnet. Wunderbar. Now you know where wonderful comes from. The Anglo-Saxons, they were in England around 400, already up to warfare. And anyway, but a third of English is based on German because the Anglo-Saxons were there in 400. And the German anthem ends, just a little comment, ends with blooming flowers, that word, German Vaterland. It ends with, Vaterland means fatherland, so they didn't say motherland, the Germans use father, kind of typical Germans. No, I think there's some people that refer to Mutterland, but maybe not. Anyway, it's just another German little joke, small joke. Yeah. So let me give you a little background about this report that I'm making. So I learned that. Oh, okay. I'm afraid that I talked a little bit too loud. We
do this.
Yeah. It's already too confusing. Typically, we do it this way: do the allegiance, the American allegiance, and then we follow it up with the third verse, German. Okay. It's confusing. It's a little mixed up enough already. Yeah, but anyway, I'm wearing a shirt because this is this U.S. famous band, and a husband and wife. Her name is Molly B. She's half. This is what she said. Her ancestry. She's half German, half Czech. Father is Busta, so I'm assuming her father is Czech, and the mother then must be German. Anyway, they and her parents had a band, musical band, dancing band, that type of band. And then she married her husband, and he is a son of a total German. He's totally German. His name is Ted Lang, and that brings up a little point too. That's Americanized. He uses the E in the back. So in German is phonetic. You put an E back there, then it's Lange. It's not Lang, it's Lange. Ted Lange is his name anyway. And he's a super terrific accordion player. She plays 15 instruments. She sings. She smiles for an hour and a half while she's playing and jumping to the music. I have never seen any musician like that. That is 200% involved when they're playing. And she does everything. And then she married, and he is very, very good. They have U.S. recognition musicians anyway. So I liked the way they played. I was at the Mount Angel Oktoberfest for 3 days. I lost my wife 3 years ago, so I go and dance a little bit because music is in our family. I have three brothers. I have one left. There were 6 of us, 3 brothers. Those 3 brothers, they had two bands. The older one played the German Oper music. The 2 younger brothers They played all kinds, German, South American, polka, you name it, rock and roll. My twin brother was a rock and roll dancer, and so he played American rock and roll. And so this Molly B band is very similar, reminds me of my brothers. They play all kinds of music and sing in German for the Mount Angel. Anyway, so after I saw Mount Angel, I heard that there's a Wurstfest, translated, just in case you don't know what Wurst, especially in English, that sounds like worst. But anyway, is sausage, a sausage festival. And this is the 60th year down in Texas, where a German prince bought a lot of land. It's part of the presentation, but I'll just generalize a little bit. In 1845, a prince, and the German had princes all over the place, 200 of them. There wasn't any Germany. It was all these princes all over, and kings, small kings. But not unified till 1890. The Prussians, under Prussia, then Germany became unified. Anyway, yeah. And so going back to Texas, so I decided to go there. They celebrate 10 days, so it's like an Oktoberfest, except they call it Wurstfest. 10 days at the beginning of November every year. It was 80, 85, every day sunshine. And so this was quite an experience. Very friendly Texas people, especially going to the Wurstfest, and after a couple of beers, then they were super friendly. And great music, different bands, 5, 6 different bands.
What's the name of the location?
Very good, Emma. It's a good point. He was a prince of. It was a hyphenated city by Frankfurt in Germany. And the second part of the hyphenated locality where he was a prince of, Von. I think his name was, if I remember, but it'll be on the program. I think it was Karl, and he was a Von. And that brings up, and I'll remember what you asked. Sometimes I go sideways. But an interesting thing. German royalty is symbolized in their name. So in this case, it was Karl von. It was a weird German first part dash Braunfels, not Felsen. It was abbreviated. Felsen would be totally. And so I read something about online. A translation about Braunfels now in Texas. That's because that's the land. So he used his home city name for the Texas land that he bought, or the city that he built up.
So it's the same in Texas.
And it's the same in Texas. Yeah.
So Odessa is in Texas. They have
Odessa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A whole bunch of German.
Yeah. Well, in this case.
In Texas.
Yeah, in this case, Braunfels is by Frankfurt, so it's on the Rhine area. It's 1,000 miles away from Odessa, but so he was totally German and a prince. Oh, and then so Karl von Braunfels, and somebody in Texas or online wrote about Braunfels. I was looking at the history for this presentation a little bit. Somebody translated what Braunfels means, and they said, and I had to laugh, they said Braunfels means brown rock. So here's a German prince, can you imagine that? If you're named Karl von, nobility, and your last name is a brown rock, I mean, does that make sense? And actually, not in my mind, and Renata and Emma, you can correct me, Braunfelsen is the total longer name. He abbreviated, not the EN, they dropped that off, Braunfelsen. And Felsen means a cliff or an outcropping, not a rock. You know, there's plenty of brown rocks. Is that unusual, brown rock? Anyway, but a cliff or a brown outcropping, that's where he was from, the city. There must have been some hill or something and that's how he came up with that name. Or his family came up that name. and here in Texas, somebody translated that as brown rock. Okay, so it's different versions. But anyway, so that's why I went there, in order to kind of listen to this band and other bands, and I had a great time. And huge where they have this thing. It's by there's a river there, and I forgot the name of a small river with a little waterfall, and a huge place, and the halls, and the beginning. It's 10 days. I was there 6 days. So, and one day I was kind of lost on the freeways that they have. They have so much traffic. Braunfels, this German initiated city, formed city, over the last decade, they doubled in population. They had 25,000. Now they got 50,000 in there, and you got trucks going on the freeway. And then I had a heck of a time. Just the first day was just trying to find the hotel, trying to find Braunfels. They don't believe in signs very much, and in my opinion, that was all new there, and finding it. So, but the location, where it's a park, a play, they have a Schlittenbahn, so they use the river and the water. So they have a water park, a big carousel wheel, and then where these beer halls are huge, open, and because it's 80 in November, so they have a lot of opening, and nobody. And here's the thing too. I was saying this already before. Nobody wore a mask. And the only ones were the ticket takers, and that's the only people. But yeah, but in the beer halls, and the beer. Maybe I should mention this too while we're waiting for the screen, and maybe there's something else. Oh, and then somebody else was going to say something about somebody passing away. So, but in just a second, and I'll finish that now. Probably now. Let's see. I lost my thought already. Well, now get back to it. And in a couple of days, admission was free at the earlier days, but the weekend it was $20 to get in. And the way they were buying, I was on a liquid diet. I was just drinking a little beer. I didn't go there for Wurst, and they had plenty to eat. And then they had stores selling German-based things, hats and emblems and so forth. And then for the beer purchase, which I bought, you had a choice. You could get a little cup that was $7 for Texas German beer. Nine just for a little cup. $9 imported from Germany, hopefully, and then you could get a whole pitcher, and that you could take that home as a souvenir. They had the Wurst festival, Wurstfest, on that, and some people that were really big drinkers, they took the pitcher, like the big German steins, kind of similar. They see those how they do it in Munich with these big steins. Well, they were using the pitcher and drinking out of that, big pitchers like that, and really got happy. Anyway, and I got one more thing, and then we can go and do that other thing, and maybe a couple of other things. Dancing-wise, like I said, I wanted to listen to the great music and all kinds of bands, and I wanted to dance a little bit. And Molly B was in das, and I'll translate it. They were playing in das kleine Zelt. Das kleine Zelt. The small tent. And it was big, and tables and so forth. And they had a little dancing place in the middle. It was like cement with a little bit of sand on it, something like that. I mean, no wooden floor or anything like that, and open, it was this kind of open Texas area, and the dancing was a little space in the middle, tables to the side, and it was, like I said, it's sand or something, so I didn't slide around, it was okay. And the last day, I was real close to the stage where Molly B was playing 4 times. We play for an hour, take a break, another band plays, and then they came back. And it was 4 times. And so I was very close. But in that big tent, in das Große Zelt, the big tent, they had tables outside of the covering, so they had the roof over it needed. It was all 80 degrees. And then outside there were tables, this huge thing, and the tables were fairly close, and there was no dancing place, just an aisle. And after I had 1 or 2 beers, I enjoyed the music so much, so I was asking a couple of ladies to dance, so I was dancing in the aisle. And I could, and there's actually a little video of me dancing. So anyway, so I had a great time. And